AskReddit by Dog Semen Enjoyer. What's an evil company not enough people talk about? Brookdale, the senior care assisted living megacorp. Senior care in the US is fucking terrifying, and they're at the center of it. Abuse, neglect, grifting survivors into estate locking deals. Brookdale is evil. And most of us will have to deal with them or someone like them as we're entering our most vulnerable adult years. As someone who works in senior living, I can confirm this. Brookdale is the largest senior living housing company in the country, and a lot of the time, they are poaching from others and offering bottom rate apartments and then jacking it up about $1,000 each year. Despicable. LendingTree and Angie's List are simply aggregators of personal data and have barely helped anyone find a cheaper loan or handyman. One thing that sucks about Angie's List is how they operate. When a potential customer sends an inquiry, a number of contractors or companies or whatever are pinged, letting them know there is a potential customer for them. And they have to pay $100 to get that potential customer's information to get the chance to bid to the customer for their business. Thing is, all the businesses that were pinged have to pay that as well for a shot, even though 2 of the 3 businesses that were alerted will not get business at all, and potentially the third either. And when I google something like how much does it cost to paint a 2000 square FT house or whatever, Angie's List is the first thing to pop up or in the top few listings. They say free quotes. So even if I'm doing it to satisfy my insomniatic mind at 2 AM or I'm having a discussion with a friend who wants to have her house done within the next year. Pearson VUE. Did none of you go to college and shell out way too much money? Or take a standardized test? All the stories of people taking exams at home and the proctor cancelling for stupid reasons, then people not being able to get their money back. Those exams are $. The Susan G. Komen Foundation, the reason pink is everywhere for breast cancer awareness, is a crooked organization that not only pockets the majority of the incoming donations, but actively restricts other cancer research fundraising ventures. I believe they spend more money suing other charities than on cancer awareness, which is technically what they do because no one has ever heard of cancer. Noah Farmer, formerly known as Purdue Farmer. They are the main character of the opioid crisis. Purdue. HCA Healthcare Corp of America. The largest for-profit hospital system in the country, world probably. Imagine if Walmart owned your hospital. That would be an improvement over HCA. Can confirm. Their laboratory practices are awful. They have no standards in releasing accurate laboratory results, and are too cheap to make sure their hospital laboratories have working equipment. Some things need to be kept frozen before use for testing, and instead they used a styrofoam box with dry ice. Speaking from Florida. Herbalife. Absolute trash scam ruining people's lives. This is unbelievably a true story. I worked as a labor and delivery nurse for 16 years. Had a young couple who swore Herbalife was the reason she got pregnant because it made her so healthy. She thought she was getting strong abdominal muscles from the supplement, but turned out that was a baby bump instead. I wish it stopped there, but it gets worse. After a day of attempting to breastfeed her newborn, she decided it wasn't working. Okay, no big deal, we discussed formula options. Upon their own review of the infant formula ingredients, they decided Herbalife shakes contained much better ingredients and nutritional value for their 1-day-old. Everyone on staff, including their obstetrician and 2 separate pediatricians, told them absolutely do not feed these to your infant. It was like talking to a brick wall. I am certain after they were discharged that poor baby was given Herbalife shakes and got horribly ill. I still think Value Village. They trick people into thinking they are a non-profit, take donations that could be going to people who need them, and charge insane prices. Same goes for Goodwill. It's not a non-profit and hasn't been for years. Edit. For all those saying yes it is. Fine. You're right. It's technically a non-profit. But it's not a non-profit. Google it. They play with legal loopholes. DuPont. Watched Dark Waters yesterday, WTF? Their controversies section in Wikipedia is long enough to be a novel. It's horrible that company. Chiquita. Way too low here. Toppled a fucking government. PG and AMP. They've burned down California several times, killing a number of our citizens here. Then having the audacity to play money games with the families of the deceased or those who've lost homes. Fuck M. The Wonderful Company. https://www.motherjones.com/environment/2016/08/Linda-Stewart-Resnick-California-water/closed bracket is also killing California, and nobody talks about it at all. Nobody should drink Fiji water, palm juice, California pistachios, etc. There's a great dollop about the whole situation for anyone who likes podcasts. Johnson & Johnson knew they had asbestos in their baby powder and still sold their products, causing countless cases of ovarian cancer and mesothelioma. Source: https://www.reuters.com/investigates/special-report/Johnson & Johnson-cancer/close bracket. And has fought tooth and nail to not pay out by putting its asbestos liabilities in a new subsidiary and promptly declaring it bankrupt, despite J&AMP, J being a hugely profitable company. Thankfully, that flagrant abuse of the bankruptcy system just got rejected by the courts. Elsevier established a near monopoly of academic journals. Charge scientists to publish in them, in the thousands. Also charge the public to read them, subscription also in the thousands. Convince other scientists to review the scientific content for free, exploiting younger scientists who need to build their CV. Basically putting a paywall on the results of government tax dollar funded research. Don't get me started on how major universities deal with STEM PhD students. Bringing people in as students, make them work 40+ hours a week in lab, purposefully misclassify them as students when really they are workers, apply for large government grants using data generated by these students, make them do all the grading for the undergrad classes, and then complain when the students are begging for $40K a year. Instead tell them they're lucky that as students they don't have to pay tuition to be there. At the end of 5-7 years of this treatment they'll give you a PhD. Scam. A tip for those who need a paper: if the author's contact information is listed, contact them and ask if they are willing to send the paper. Most researchers are more than happy to oblige, since they don't benefit from you buying from the journal anyway. The former United Fruit Company, now called Chiquita. Tyson Foods, Cargill, National Beef Packing Company, and JBS. Even if you jaff about animals, they are pretty awful to the people who work at their slaughterhouses, and those four are like 85% of the market, so they also greatly exploit the farmers who raise animals for them. Cargill is a multi-billion-dollar company responsible for so many of our biggest issues today, from palm oil to deforestation to factory farming to child slavery, and nobody's even heard of them. Luxottica, pretty much a monopoly on the vision care and product market. They own just about all fashion eyewear and eye care outlets, hence the ridiculous prices. Use Zenni. I went to LensCrafters. They said $600 for new glasses, but I got them for $20 at Zenni. De Beers, the largest diamond company in the world, has been exploiting workers in the world's poorest nations for 135 years. They also control diamond prices. Stop buying diamonds, people. It's literally just carbon. Pick a different stone. Sincerely, someone who worked with gemstones. Wells Fargo's pretty shady. I've never worked for or banked with them, but they are pretty shady. It's amazing how every couple years Wells Fargo gets in trouble for doing something obviously and openly illegal. Then the government says, oh, no person did this, it's just the company, let's slap a fine on them and move on. This is probably a personal bias, but United Healthcare. Any health insurance company really, but this all stems from the United States healthcare system. Cigna makes me miss UHC. I'll take a disorganized corp any day over one that'll happily reject claims. Any for-profit health insurance company has plenty of blood on its hands. Charging people out the ass only for non-doctors to decide what care is or isn't medically necessary to cover. For-profit death panels. I'll let you know when my NDA is lifted in 6 months and 1 day. Edit. Dang, did not expect this to blow up with people setting reminders lol. I feel like you folks are going to be really underwhelmed, because I'm 100% sure most of you have never heard of this gigantic, multi-billion-dollar global conglomerate owned by one of the biggest private equity firms in the world because it's a niche field I work in. I'll give every detail I can think of to make it interesting. They are fucking their employees and clients over openly and proudly on a global scale. Remind me 6 months. Autism speaks. Edit. Holy shit. Thanks for all the awards. I can't believe I have more upvotes than the post itself right now. I heard it was bad, but like why? Does it not give donation $sign to actually help people? PLZ elaborate, as I'm not really integrated into the autistic community. Chemers. Ha. My co-worker was involved in part of their deal with the government to clean up all the shit they were spilling into the waters. They got a nice little $1 billion fine from the government and had to promise to clean up all the waste they'd been spilling. However, no one currently knew how to clean up all the waste they were spilling, because it was PFAS, so instead of being responsible for actual cleanup, they got off the hook by paying a scientist, my co-worker, to research how to clean up their messes. They were very generous to our pie. Spoiler, it's all still there in the water, or probably in people by now. It's also whack lol. Did you know they're a spin-off of DuPont? DuPont wanted to keep making PFAS because they're sold and used everywhere, but PFAS have some really bad PR right now. So, they made chemers as a protective shell to sell their shit without directly implicating the DuPont name. Comcast. They do not give a fuck about their customers. Oh, I see you've had your own modem for 4 years. Let's add an equipment charge and see if you catch it. Acme seem to have gone for decades selling weapons of mass destruction without much pushback or regulation. Never edited a comment for the love before, so thanks for the love, my lovelies. Their products frequently malfunction. Susan G. Komen Pink Ribbon Cancer Charity. UPS. I have seen decisions made that have killed employees and then the supervisor responsible get promoted. I have seen managers get fired for removing time worked from time cards only to be hired back a month later. I have saw intentional OSHA violations on a nightly basis for years. I see supervisors relentlessly harass employees. Horrible company in every way imaginable. On the flip side, they are unionized, so their workers have at least some hope of representation, unlike FedEx. TurboTax has been lobbying the US government not to tell taxpayers how much they owe, so that they can make money doing that. Dollar General treats employees far worse than Walmart ever did, and no one really brings it up. Used to work alongside the company and would speak to employees often. And the stories that I heard made me glad I never worked there. From what I understand, it hasn't gotten better since 2019. I think a lot of people in this thread need to reread the question, especially the not enough people talk about part. For real, it's the same companies everyone on Reddit has talked about for a decade.